Here we're given a rectangle and we're given its area. Its area is what you get when you multiply length times width, and it also gives you its width. So and then it's asking you to find the length. So they give you what you get as an answer right here, and it is giving you the width. Well, something times x subtract 4 is going to be equal to 5x squared minus 17x minus 12. Two different ways to go about this problem. Okay, the first way is I would just go and I'd factor 5x squared minus 17x minus 12. I'd go and do it. That's how I'd approach this one. So in order to factor it, I'm going to use my little mn method. This is 5x squared, and I'll say plus mx plus nx plus negative 12. I changed that subtract 12 to a plus negative 12. And I am looking for an m and an n that multiply to give me negative 12, but add to give me negative 17. So let's try, back me up. I am actually looking for an m and n. I messed that one up. I have to multiply these together. M and n that gives multiply to give me negative 60, but add to give me negative 17. That was my mistake there. So in order to get what they multiply by, you take the coefficient of the square term and you multiply it by the constant term at the end. That's where I got the negative 60, 5 times negative 12. So I'm looking for numbers that can multiply to give me negative 60 but add to give me negative 17. I just pulled up my calculator and did a little work on my end. You'll have to work on this on your own. I got an m and m. I got my two numbers. I got 5 and negative 12. Because 5 times negative 12 gives me negative 60, and 5 and negative 12 gives me negative 17. Back it up. That doesn't work. Okay, I'm on to a new one. I thought I had it and I didn't. How about this one? How about negative 20 and positive 3? Negative 20 and positive 3 gives me negative 60, but when I add them together, they give me negative 17. Perfect. There we go. So let's go through and write this. This becomes 5x squared plus negative 20x plus 3x plus negative 12. Good. Let me give myself some room here. Now I'm going to factor by grouping because that's how we go about this. So I'm going to group these two, then I'm going to group these two. I'm going to pull out a GCF from each one. The greatest common factor between 5x squared and negative 20x is a 5x. And when I pull it out, I ask myself, 5x times what gives me 5x squared? Just an x. 5x times what gives me negative 20x? A negative 4. Down here, greatest common factor between 3x and negative 12. It's a 3. I pull it out. 3 times what gives me 3x? Just an x. 3 times what gives me negative 12? A negative 4. You did this right, and you should have the same piece in there right there. I'm going to factor that out. Now I'm going to get x plus negative 4. When I take it out of this piece, I'm left with the 5x. And when I take it out of this piece, I'm left with the 3. And there's a plus in between them. Now again, this was telling me that the area was this big polynomial right there. And look, it gave me one of them right here, x minus 4. Ask me what the other side was. What do you multiply x minus 4 by to get the area? Well, right here, folks, there we got it. So we found it by factoring. And I used the m and the n method for factoring.